Everybody, it is I, Mrs. M, and today I want to start a series called "They Gonna Pay for My Pain." Cause I always say back in the day when I was younger, everybody that has said or hurt my feelings or put me through some shit, they gonna pay for my pain one way for or another, whether it's through skits, artistic stuff, whether I write a book about it or what have you. I always say that. So I decided to start a series based on that. So now, this doesn't mean in any way to promote unforgiveness. You know what I mean? Because I forgive my enemies. I forgive my enemies. You know what I mean? The Bible tells you to do that. And that's not just for, I'm sorry, I got something over here. Whew. That's not just for them, it's for you. So anyway, let me start. So when I was about 14, I had a friend. Let's call her, I don't want to use her real name. Let's call her Jessica, right? I had a crush on Jessica's brother. I was new to the neighborhood, had a crush on my brother, whatever like that. So did most of the neighborhood girls. I ended up going to high school with him, but he was in a higher grade than me. That's the same guy I talked about that's a firefighter now. He still live in the city. And I had a crush on my brother initially. I was trying to talk to him. I was 14. He was 16, I believe. Because he got a car not too long after that. He was able to drive. So that's how I met his sister. And we became friends. His sister at the time was, how old was Jessica? I said I was going to call her Jessica, right? Okay, Jessica. Jessica was about 12 and a half. Okay, she wasn't in high school yet. But we became friends or whatever, like that. But Jessica, she was one of them girls that was cute. She had the long hair with the twist style in it or whatever like that. Okay, we became friends over that summer. So fast forward, but Jessica, she has controlling tendencies. You know what I mean? She could tend to be controlling over her friends. I've seen her do it to this other girl that she was friends with, that I became friends with too, named Keisha. Right? Keisha is her actual name. And I'm like, now her and Keisha were like the same age. They was like 12 and a half or whatever like that. They was in high school. So she started doing to me. And I'm like, I'm older than you, girl. Like, who you think you talk to like that? The first time she did it, I spent some time with my cousin. And Jessica, she don't like it when she want her friends around and they not around for her. But Jessica could go off with her other friends that we don't know about and do sleepovers at their house and everything like that. But the moment we spend time with folks that we like, it's a problem. Now, at the time, I spent some time with my cousin that I was close to, at the time. I spent the weekend with him. Jessica was pissed. Jessica was on the phone, like, going off on me. And then I found myself apologizing to Jessica because I didn't want Jessica to be mad at me because she was so popular and her brothers were so popular, whatever like that. And I was trying to make amends. Shh, hush. So Jessica wasn't no longer mad anymore because I apologized to her and I appeased her, right? But then fast forward, Got into high school. I had my own princess. Hush. I knew this was going to happen. As soon as I hit that live. So one day, I spent time with my friends from high school. One of the girls I became friends with, Tamika, I had a crush on her cousin, right, at the time. So I told my mom about it. I wasn't allowed to date at that time, but I told my mom about this boy. You know, he would call, whatever like that. My dad worked nights, so he would never know about the phone calls. So I made plans to go with Tamika and her sister to the park, but I was actually going to meet with her cousin, right? He was cute. My God, he was cute. I found out he drives trucks now, honey. Making that big money, okay? So here comes Jessica popping up at my house unannounced with her friends. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. Jessica had this habit of popping up at my house unexpected. At the time, my dad used to fix televisions and stuff, right? We used to have the big floor model televisions. Now, this was like in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay, we had the big floor model TV, okay, at the time. Yo, those of you know, that's almost like having a big screen, okay? Back in those days, that was like the big flat screens you see now. So she liked to come to my house and watch movies because I guess they didn't have a VCR at the time. Until her sister's boyfriend brought them a VCR on the television and watched, and then she started switching up on me. So anyway, Jessica had this habit of popping up at my house. Now, back in those days, I was shy. You know what I mean? I didn't like confrontation. I didn't like arguing with people. When I got back at somebody, they usually didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? I don't like to do the rah, rah, rah and yelling and screaming. When I got back at someone, they usually didn't see it coming. Like, I'm more vocal now. And I still don't like confrontations, but I will if I fucking have to, okay? But I was, very reserved and shy, back in those days. But I did make friends. So, yeah, she has this very nasty habit of dropping by my house unannounced. And I try to be the best hostess. My mom try to be a nice hostess or whatever like that, because that's what you do. You show hospitality when people come to your home. And then there was this one incident that when Jessica and Keisha was sitting on my porch, Jessica's mother, I love her mother. Her mother was a sweetheart. Like her mom, if you was to talk to her on the phone, you would think that was a white woman. Like she don't sound like the typical black woman. You would think she was a Caucasian woman. Upper class Caucasian woman. Living in the hood, right? So her mom, I don't think her mother believed in spankings or whatever. And then her dad was a Vietnam vet. I like him too. It broke my heart to find out that he had passed away, because I used to see him at the store and stuff. But he has PTSD. Am I saying it right? Where he had get flashbacks of the war or whatever like that. He was a nice guy. He always took his sons fishing, always spent time with his kids or whatever like that. So he was living in the house. He was living in the house with his wife. So let me get back to that. Jessica's mom came down there to get her. She said, Jessica, you got to come home. You got some stuff to do. Jessica went the fuck off on her mother and started cursing like a little white brat. You see them white kids, them brats that be F you, mom. I was in like, wow. She did not want to go. Oh shit! I'm like, ooh, oh God, oh Lord, right? So my mother said, I didn't know she behaved like that because my parents thought she was this model person, she made really good grades. She always made honor rolls and stuff like that. They thought she was this good girl. Now I'm just keeping quiet, like I don't know her half. But that was the first time I even seen her spazzed out on her mother. So my mom, now keep in mind, Keisha was still on the porch, right? With her sneaky ass. My mom made a statement like, "Ooh, if that was my if that was my daughter, ooh, why would I be her butt?" I said, "I know you would, mom. I know you would." And my mom is the nice one, but don't get it twisted though. She would knock you the fuck out. Lights out. That's a long story, child. You get out of line. The first thing she do is hum. She hums. The humming is a warning. Because I tried my mama one time because I thought I was smelling myself. And baby, it was lights out. You hear me? That humming is a warning letting you know you better shut the hell up. So, okay, my mom said what she said, whatever like that, because she was shocked. There's an ice cream truck out there. Keisha went back and told Jessica what my mother said. So Jessica pops up at my house. She starts saying some stuff about my mom. Not so nice stuff. I couldn't even tell you verbatim, but I wanted to fucking choke the living hell out of her for saying that about my mother. But I knew if I would have put my hands on her, I didn't know too many people in that neighborhood. For sure, it probably would have been a crowd near my house, and yeah, they probably would have got somebody to jump me or whatever like that, because that's what they do. That's how they get down. I looked at her like, and I knew I had it. I knew in my head, because I had to end this friendship. I had to figure out how to end this friendship. This is like she's getting too comfortable. So I don't like your mother and this and that and blah blah blah. And she need to mind her business. And now I know now that I study spiritual warfare, that was a spirit. That was definitely a spirit, a Jezebel that resided in that little girl at the time. Now Jessica's obviously a grown woman now and everything. So found out she gave her kidney to her sister like I gave my kidney to my father. I said she been following my story, following what's going on with me. Anyway, so Jessica said what she said about my mother. And I knew. I said, I gotta figure out a way to get away from this bitch. Now fast forward back to my friend Tamika. Me and Tamika made plans because I wanted to see her cousin, his cute self, right? Which later on down the line, he ended up being friends with my crazy ass ex, but that's gonna be another story, Chad. Anyway, Jessica pops up at my house with her friends. I told her from the door, I said, well, I'm on my way out the door. I have things to do. She proceeded to come in my home anyway. Now, my mom and everybody was already at the house. I said, I'm about to head out. She's sitting there. And I'm thinking, like, are you going to leave out too? Whatever like that. Because I got plans with my friend Tamika. I leave. I say, Mom, I'll see you later. I go down the street with Tamika. Jessica come running behind me with Keisha and her friend that she spend the weekends with. She calls my name. I turn around. She said, you're being rude. You're being rude. You're supposed to stay here with us and we're your guests. I said, but I didn't expect you to come to my house. I told you I had plans. I said, would you like to join us or come with us? We're going to the park. I turned to Tamika. Would you like for her to join us? She said, no. I turned to her sister. You like for her to join us? She said, no. I said, see you later. I went off to the park with them. Jessica was pissed. Like she was spazzing the fuck out. And I was like, look like this is going to be my chance. But I had my mind set on seeing her cousin. I ain't even give a damn child. That little girl. She need to go away. She ain't even in high school. So spent a couple of hours out, chilling. We chilling in the park, eating hot dogs and enjoying the scenery or whatever like that. And with Tamika, with her cousin that I like, it's a good guy. He lived with his mom. His mom was so nice. I met his mother. As a matter of fact, he got mad at me because his mom had picked up, we was on the phone together. His mom picked up the phone and told him to do something, and he started going off about his mom. I said, don't talk to your mother like that. And he cussed me out. That's why I left him alone, child, because how they treat their moms is how they'll treat you, child. I learned early on how they treat their mothers, how they treat you. Okay. So meanwhile, while I was spending time with my friends and my potential boyfriend, right? We weren't boyfriend, girlfriend. We was just like talking and filling each other out. Jessica was spazzing the fuck out. Do you know she went back? I found out to my house and told my mom I'm out there going to meet a boy. But little did she know, my mom knew about this boy. Okay? I told my mom about him. All right? She already spoke to him on the phone. Like who you talking? So this bitch is spazzing the fuck out. So that she was waiting for me. I guess somebody gave her word that I saw one of the neighborhood boys that's cool with her brothers. I saw him when he saw me walking up the street on my way to go home. He ran like where her house was. He must have went and told her, yeah, she back home. She back home with her like that. Next thing you know, I get out. I knock on the door. It's Jessica ass with her old friend. Now it's like a couple of hours that went by. It's dark. Okay, so my ass was in the house. I was still like in the neighborhood, but I was at the park. The park wasn't far from my home. So I wasn't like real far from home. You know what I mean? She just didn't know where I was at. Thank God, because she knew I was in the park. She probably would have followed me around in the park. Well, her crazy ass. Well, anyway, she knocked on my door. She was like, that's messed up. You're no friend, and I don't want to be your friend. I said, okay, that's fine. She was like, and another thing, She spilled out this secret because I don't have no sisters. It was a secret I told her about what happened to me. This guy that lived down the block from us, who's friends with people across the street, how he I was supposed to be talking to him and shit, right? And plus he's friends with my best friend boyfriend. She's me and her best friends to this day, but she was dating this guy and they friends and they play basketball with each other. I was trying to talk to him, but the dude, this is before I met Tamika's cousin, okay? This is way before that. The dude tried to SA me. Scared the living hell out of me. I think what saved me was his grandmother was on his way home, her way home. Because she's a teacher. This is after school. And that's a long story. He tried to SA me. And I got away I'm like, oh my God. And I'm seeing like kids that I go to school with walking past the house on their way home. One guy was in my homeroom. I know he saw me run out the house and I was trying to like keep my composure. I didn't want to yell, this man raped me or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, great. I don't know. I was in shock. I was about 15 at the time, right? I'm 15 at the time. Was that 14, 15? How old was I? How old was I? I'm trying to think. I think I was 15. So I told her this secret. Now fast forward to Jessica spazzing crazy ass knocking on my door. But she should be preparing to go to fucking bed. Oh, you being rowdy. What's up with you? Where your guests? I say, well, I had plans before you popped up at my home. Actually, I don't think I said much of anything. I was probably thinking it. And she said another thing. And that's why you almost got it. And she stormed off. I was like, and she said it loud enough for my mom or my brother could hear. My dad was at work at the time. He wasn't there. He got home late at night at the time. I was like, wow, she wanted the whole neighborhood to hear that shit. That's what I knew. It was over. Part of me was relieved. Because it's like, now I see who you are. And we could never be friends again. Even if you apologize. But part of me was like, oh my God. If my parents heard that, I would have to explain. I had to do what I had to do. So she storms off, and then later on that night, somebody turned the water. She got one of her little minions and turned the water on the side of the house. My daddy going off. He said he'll shoot anybody. He said, I'll shoot anybody. I don't care who you are or how old you are. I will shoot your ass. You come on my property again, turning my water on. You gonna get shot. I said, damn. So he yelling at me and yelling at my brother, thinking somebody around here retaliating against us. I don't know. I kind of know. I was like, she probably sent her little minions there. So I said, oh, okay. So Jessica started hanging around across the street with these girls she don't even like. I didn't like them either. And we all went to church together. That's another story. She hanging around across the street with them. She giving me the look. She sending Keisha delivering messages. I said, I told Keisha we could never be friends. She got 24 hours to apologize to me though, but then we can never ever be friends again. I don't trust her. And I don't be friends with people I don't trust. She would like when they go to the store, the girls across the street, she'll walk a certain way, walk down the block and then cross the street, trying to avoid cross the street where I'm at. So I'm talking to my other friend's cousin because she had went away to the military. That's another friend she don't know about, whatever. That lived in the block, but she went to a different high school. And she was away at the time in the military training, like in the army. So her cousin would come over on the weekends from New York. And me and her, she was a grown woman. She was cool as hell. Her name was Lynn. She was cool as hell. And they looked just alike. They look like twins. The friend and Lynn. But I was telling her about I think at the time Lynn was. Let me tell you one thing about me though. At my age, in my teens, I was very mature for my age. Like, I had an old soul. So I didn't mind hanging out with people that were older than me. Like, when I was in high school, I hung out with juniors and seniors. They didn't believe I was a freshman. When, our freshmen, they come and they used to haze the freshmen. I never got hazed because they didn't believe I didn't behave like a freshman. So I always hung out with upper class people, like juniors and seniors and shit. People getting ready for college and things, right? So Lynn, I think at the time was like maybe 19, 20. And I told her my problem with this girl, and she was like, I said, I could never trust her again, like ever. So Lynn is watching this, like Jessica is like watching me. She's literally hanging out on a porch across the street from my home. Not to hang out with them, but she's watching my ass. Cause she don't like them bros. She's just sitting there to watch me. And I say, let her suffer. Now she hanging around with people she don't like just to keep an eye on me. And we still ain't gonna be freaking friends. Okay? We still not gonna be cool. We still not gonna be friends. So needless to say, that apology never came. I said after 24 hours, I said, she got 24 hours. Other than that, I don't got nothing to say to her. Don't speak to me, I won't speak to you. And that's how we pretty much lived our life. I ain't speak to her, she ain't speak to me. When I had my son, a year after that, she called herself like she was going to approach me and approach my stroller. I picked my son up and from the stroller, and I told my crazy ass fiance at the time, I'll meet you at the house. Like, don't come near me, because he had befriended some of them characters in the neighborhood that I don't care too much about, including Jessica's brother. That's another story. He don't became friends with them, and she all of a sudden, even this dude Hassan I try to talk to, and I'm like, I don't even know why he trying to approach me. Kind of like, can he see my son? Yeah, that's saying that. I think I did a story talking about Hassan. Anyway, so that's that. Jessica never apologized to me. She had to live the rest of her days with what she did, said about me. Now, I did end up being friends with her on Facebook, but I didn't say much to her. It was just to be nosy. I was still cordial and cool with her brothers and everything like that, the rest of her family, but her, They even asked, what the brother I had a crush on at the time, what happened between you and that Jessica? I said, you gotta ask Jessica. She mad at me. You know what he gonna say? But that's just Jessica. She'll get mad and she'll get. I was like, nah, this is different. This is different, bro. This ain't just. I put up with her little spasms, But when you throw a secret I told you in my face and then say it loud enough for everybody to hear and it cause issues in my family, I know I can't trust you, bitch, and I don't want you near my circle. Don't pop up at my house with you and your damn friends. I guess she thought I was gonna kiss her ass and say, I'm sorry. Hell no. Fuck you, bitch. That was my out right there. That was my out. Remember how I said earlier? I gotta figure out when she talking shit about my mom. And I say, I gotta figure out how to fucking break this friendship. Because a person like that, you just can't say, I don't want to be your friend no more. Because they'll, you gotta be a little crafty. So, yeah. That's it, y'all. She done moved on. She ended up going to the same high school I used to go to. Later on, I found that she had a baby child. She had a baby while she was in high school. Yeah, I guess she's living an alright life. When I became Facebook friends with her, I didn't say much to her. Just little posts that she had a weight loss journey. She was going to the gym and she lost the weight and decided to be a trainer. I said, oh Lord, she gonna boss them poor people around. And she was a praise dancer at a church or whatever like that. Nothing about her being married or being with no man or nothing. Just her and her, raising her daughter up. I think her daughter ended up going to the military. Yeah. Other than that, I don't even think she's on Facebook anymore. Before that, I did unfriend her because I was like, what's the point of me friending her? Like, I did unfriend her. Other than that, I was just looking just to be nosy. Just to be nosy to see, like, what was going on with her. But nah, we didn't speak. She didn't hit me in the inbox. Never no apology or nothing. Nothing. So, anyway. That's it for They Gonna Pay For My Pain series, okay? Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell and check all the information in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for episode 2. Bye.